Hey guys, welcome to the Frag Loadout. In this video, I will be reviewing the iPega PG-9025 Bluetooth controller. The iPega 9025 is a controller that you can use for games on your Android and iOS devices. But before we get started on that, first let's look at the content of the box. First, you have the manual, which contains the button layout and of course, information on how you connect the controller to your device. Then you have a USB cable, similar to the charger cables for most phones, and of course you have the controller itself, all packaged inside this box. Now, looking at the design of the controller, the body has this black matte coat for its paint, which is nice because the material makes you have a better grip on the device. Unfortunately, you have to take better care of the controller as this type of material is prone to scratches. I have been using this for about a month now and I don't particularly take special care of it, but it still looks new, minus some of the dust pickups that you might see here. Its layout is similar to that of the Xbox controller where the analog is on the leftmost side. Other than that, the analog stick does click when pressed and it feels good quality. The buttons on the right side is a bit small, but its size is good enough for my regular sized hands. The directional buttons though is not the best thing about this controller. It feels fine, however diagonal inputs does require a bit more force and emphasis on the input direction. You can see here at the middle is the home button, which you will use to connect via Bluetooth, and beside it is the start and select buttons. The two LEDs at the bottom of that is the search and charge indicators. The search will turn on when paired with a device. The charge will turn on when plugged in and will blink when the battery is almost drained. And at the very bottom of that is the media buttons. Volume and playback buttons is present here. It's very convenient for me to have this because when my phone is attached here, I can't access the volume buttons there, so this is a good feature as other controllers, even from the same brand, does not put volume buttons on some of their controllers. At the top is the L1 and R1 buttons, and what I really like about the design of this controller is the positioning of the R2 and L2 buttons, which is on the back of the controller. At first you might accidentally press it, but this design is very good as this controller is designed to be portable. And by having this layout, they can retain the controller's small body. And at the very bottom of that is the reset button. Now, to pair this controller to a device, there are multiple ways to do it. On an Android device, pressing X and home lets you connect normally as a gamepad. Pressing A and home lets you connect as keyboard mode. Pressing Y and home lets you connect as mouse mode. On an iOS device, pressing B and home lets you connect to the iOS device as iCade mode. iCade is an app on the App Store that lets you download some games that supports this controller. Pressing Y and home lets you connect as keyboard mode. You can also connect this to your PC by first connecting the controller with the micro USB cable provided, and it will install drivers. After that, you can use it with the cable on or via Bluetooth. The PC will recognize it as an Xbox controller. I haven't tried using it via Bluetooth though because I have a desktop and I don't have a Bluetooth dongle. Alright, I don't have an iPhone or any iOS device, so I can only show you how to connect on an Android device. My phone is the Samsung J7 2016 and on the latest Android OS. To attach your phone, just simply lift up the latches, pull the top and put your phone in place. The top and bottom latch also has rubber on them, which will ensure your phone is secured in place. The pullback force of the top latch is also good enough to withstand any movements. And there it is. This phone, by the way, has a 5.5-inch screen and the maximum supported size of the holder says up to 5.5 inches. However, I tried to put a Galaxy S8 here which is 5.8 inches and it fits well with some space left when I max out the top latch. Now I'm going to show you how to connect to an Android phone. So, I hold the home and X button for about 2 seconds and the LED indicator will start flashing. Open up your Bluetooth and scan for nearby devices. Once the controller name shows up, tap it and it will be paired. The blinking will stop with the LED just turned on. Oh, and when the controller is already part of your paired devices list, you don't have to press home and X anymore. Just hold the home button while the Bluetooth is turned on and it will pair automatically. Now let's try playing some games, shall we? Let's start first with the PPSSPP emulator, which you can use to play PSP games on your phone, and it goes well perfectly with this controller. No complicated setup is needed. Series XE, which is the PS1 emulator. You can play your old favorite PlayStation 1 games, and this controller is also supported without setup needed. Now the NES 2 player, which is basically the NES emulator. Play the games that you and even your parents used to play. Some tweaking with the setting is needed here, but if set up right, you can play very smoothly without hiccups. You can still use these apps without the controller, but on-screen touch controls is definitely not what they're made for. And with this controller, you basically have 3 of those old platforms in your phone, and I haven't even mentioned the games that are on the Android App Store, which I will show you next. I myself only tried it on these 3 games that I will show you now. However, there are more games that supports this controller, which includes games like Asphalt 8, Mortal Kombat 5, Shadowgun, GTA, and more. Games in this controller has been a treat. The controller grips well and holds your phone very securely. Doesn't matter if you're walking or lying in bed, constantly changing your position. And battery life on this is very good. Your phone's battery will most likely die first before this does. Alright, to conclude, I would have to say this controller is great. The build quality is good enough, and the overall design of it really suits my taste, except for the Xbox analog layout. But a lot of controllers these days follow this design anyway, so it's fine. The buttons all feel nice and in good quality. This controller costs about $20 in the US, as I've looked at Amazon in the making of this video. And for my Filipino viewers out there, nakuha ko tong iPega 9025 na mga 660 pesos or about $13 US, which I got on sale sa Lazada. Now that is a good enough deal for me who likes to play emulator games. However, for those people who only plays games on the App Store, there is not a lot of titles that supports this controller. For a month, I have used this controller and gaming on it has been great so far. I definitely recommend this for people who likes to play a lot of games and use emulators. And that's it for my review of the iPega PG-9025 Bluetooth controller. Please leave a comment below what you think about this controller or this review, and leave a like if you did. This is Big Boss from the Frag Parade, and I'll see you in the next one.